Pallavi Singh, and I've been in the automotive industry. I've been fortunate to work with some of the greatest brands in the world, from Harley-Davidson to BMW to MG, and now I'm doing something very, very exciting in the mobility space. And I'm excited to speak today, and I'm part of the DLC's Automobile and Charter Committee, New Delhi chapter. Today, I will be speaking at the DLC talk on a very interesting topic and also something which is very, very close to my heart. How is this space of automotive changing and the path to innovation? At the center of every innovation and at the center of anything which is exceptional and interesting and something which you all want to see as customers and as brands, I think it is the people. And what do I mean by people? I mean the people who lead. So what does it mean to be a leader? And in my experience, what I've seen working with different companies, especially in the time of pandemic, that there were people coming up with such innovative and different ideas which led to great customer experience. Now, if you look at a lot what happened in the automotive space during pandemic was really reaching out to customers during service, right? I think service is the integral part of how the automotive space is looked at, and that means how do you serve your customer. Now, if you look at a pyramid, right, and it's something we all know and we've studied as well, is why do we exist as brands? And we exist as brands to solve something for our customers. And that's where true leadership stands out. And I've been fortunate to work with some great leaders who've taught me one thing, that you have to be so good at your product, knowing your product, because product is at the center of everything we have to deliver to our customers, regardless to the space we are in. And then is, of course, the customer, and everything else in the middle is just a hyperlink. And that's why I say that any innovation, any new idea actually starts from people. People sitting in a room thinking, how can we delight our customers? And let me take you to another example. And that's why hiring the right set of people, hiring people from different domains, different spaces. And I've seen that in my experience. I've always hired or worked with people. Say in my team, I always had somebody from advertising or somebody from FMCG or somebody just completely from technology. That helps to bring new ideas, but it also helps us to create a value chain, which is very, very different when it comes to innovation, or it comes to thinking, how can we do something which is already existing, but in a very, very different pattern or a different format. And that is what pandemic has taught us. And during this time, what I've also seen is that the middle managers actually truly became superstars, because it was a great time to show that what can I bring on table and what I truly can do from an organization perspective or a brand point of view. And I really like what Simon Sinek says, if you look at the why, right? How do we address why would a customer want to buy this product, or why do a customer want to maybe own this product? Today, we all want to own an Apple or maybe a Harley-Davidson or a Porsche. There is a reason that brand calls you for something. Porsche is for performance. Harley-Davidson is for community. Apple is also, it's a great product. It's like, it's an ecosystem. And that's what I think great leaders have done to bring right set of people together. And that's what I've seen in my career, working with the right people, the right mentors, and having a team which is actually very cohesive, and different set of cultures and geographies, when they come together, they actually can lead to truly great innovation. And the second piece, which is again very close to my heart, is how can digital transformation lead to digital commerce? Now, because most of our customers consume everything online, the role of marketers or brand custodians or people in general or business leaders have changed completely. And I think they're responsible more as growth officers now. And that leads me into something like the two pieces I want to talk about, which is on digital transformation and leading to digital commerce, is on data and marketing technology adoption in the campaigns, in how we look at our customers. So let me talk about data first. And in my experience, what I've seen is how things are changing across verticals, across people, is we are now looking at data creators and data analysts. And data is a gold mine. I would say it's a diamond mine. And it's so important because you could look at that data, synthesize that data, simplify that data, and see how can that data be used across the value chain. When we look at the funnel, which is your pre-funnel, your funnel, and your service experience. And I'm very anal about customer experience, which means serving our customers. And that's what data helps us to identify. And that leads me to the second point, which I was telling about and talking about, is on adopting marketing technologies. And that's very critical today. Dollars are less. You want to sell more. And customer has become much more intelligent than people in the company or people sitting across desks, because customer has so much information available on internet. And that's where it becomes very important that companies' assets or brand assets, like a website or a mobile app for a customer, everything you need, whether it's for a car or whether it's a bike or whether it's a cycle or whether it's a gear, it's a merchandise, it's a helmet, it's a jacket, it's your riding boots, it's your gloves, that I can look at it on the website and actually imagine yourself wearing those. Imagine yourself in a zone of AR and VR, which I'm going to talk about this in my third point. And you can feel that you're riding in Leh, or you're driving your car in Rajasthan. And that is what a customer is looking for. And we've seen so much of it coming our way, as me as a customer as well. Today, if I want to buy something, for example, I just want to pick up a Dyson today, they have such great experience on their website that you can actually for your hair, your kind of texture, what can you use? And that is truly, to me, how are you adopting different marketing technologies? Some of them are third party, you could adopt from vendors, but I also believe that as this is getting adopted across the world, and technology is becoming the center, or I would say a bedrock for organizations, we need to build our own technology, which has to be in-house, because this is something which everybody is going to want over a period of time. So that means for a customer to experience what kind of colors they want, what kind of configurations they want, what kind of trims they want, that's all today available. But how do I experience that? Maybe sitting in my office or sitting in my home, but actually seeing myself driving in New Zealand. And that, to me, is a great experience. But it also depends on brand, because they're high indulgence brands where, touch and feel is important. When you buy an expensive an Omega C Master, or you're buying a Porsche, or you're buying a BMW or a Mercedes, you want to sit in the car. Your family wants to experience this. Now, how do you create that experience if somebody doesn't want to visit a store? I think today young people and a 12-year-old son or a daughter is going to tell their mom and dad that I want to experience it sitting in my room, in my study room. And that's where this whole idea of, the virtual reality, actually talking to the sister technology of augmented reality, comes into picture. Now let's talk about AR and VR. Again, I'm going back to the time of pandemic, and I think some of us still are recovering from it, and a lot have happened in people's life. But I would just say, if you look at virtual reality today, married to the sister technology, which is augmented reality, let me give you an example. There is one customer who wants to actually buy shots for swimming or maybe for trekking, and is looking for something very simple, but still don't want to visit a store. Now, there is another customer who actually maybe wants to pick up a vacuum cleaner from Dyson and wants to ensure safety, wants to ensure that my child should be safe while they buy this kind of technological advanced Dyson for their living room. Now, imagine, going on a website where you could actually know that whatever you're buying as a cycling short for your trekking, it's water resistant or heat resistant, and they're able to show those features to you through that immersive experience. Now that to me is great selling. Now you look at Dyson and this customer who wants to buy something for the living space, and because it's high indulgence, you could create an augmented reality and actually make them come experience their store while sitting, and they have like a beautiful store in London. You could actually take them there while they're sitting at their home and experience this whole technology. And that to me is truly innovative, and you're serving a customer needs from where they want. Post-pandemic, time is the most valuable thing we have on earth. And how brands can actually curate those experiences across the value chain is going to be the most important things for brands to come. Let's look at the space I come from, which is the mobility space, and a space where everybody is investing money, people, infrastructure, technology, and that is the the EV and the mobility space. This space has been evolving over a period of time, and from confusion to ambiguity. Now there is a prediction that EVs actually by 2030 is going to outsell the conventional vehicles. They will exist because there is a novelty value for across the board for things like this, like petrol and hybrid. If you look at Europe today, 56% of EVs are sold in Norway. 2 vehicles out of the 10 vehicles sold in Norway are actually EV. Now, the biggest litmus check, in my view, what I hear or what I see or what I read, is that the biggest auto markets, which is the US and China, when the adoption in these markets really go up, is when we will really see actually evolution of EV across spectrum, when we especially look at high-end cars or also high-end motorcycles. This whole conception that EVs don't go so fast, we're not sure, there are so many issues, there are so many concerns, but I'm glad actually across the world, and especially now in India also, that the government is announcing so many new things, which is primarily to do with safety, it's to do with experience, it's to do with performance, it's to do with reliability, and EV is just a very small part of this larger puzzle. It's actually the entire value chain, which means where the products are being built, where are they getting disposed of, what is happening to the waste and the residue, is when we're actually really looking at making an impact on the globe, on our land, and most importantly for our children, for next 30 years to come and next generations to flourish. And EV is just that one step. And organizations are taking that leap of faith, they're investing money. And also EVs are not cheap to make. If you look at the motor, you look at the battery, the kind of technology and the kind of connected devices and the technologies being used, they're very expensive. So it takes time, it takes effort to build that entire infrastructure, which could be safer, which will be reliable, and which serves the customer with a smile on their face that they feel that it's a great experience to drive an EV. And I have personally ridden and driven a lot of EVs, and it is a pleasure. I was fortunate actually to drive Harley Davidson Livewire back in the days in 2013 or 14 in Malaysia in the circuit. And it went like it's super fast, and it totally depends on how safe you feel and how faster you want to ride. But if you are looking for a performance vehicle and you think EV is not it, I think you really need to drive one to feel it. It's much, much faster. The experience is better. You don't hear the sound. And there are a lot of other things which you experience through your mobile app. You can know the health of your vehicle. You can predict your tire pressures much in advance. So it's much, much safer than any other vehicle. Still a long way to go. Lots is happening in this space, but this is the future. And that actually leads me into another topic which is very close to my heart, which is on sustainability more than, but how climate change is very, very important. for each and every one of us, but brands and organizations as people, for all of us to think, what are we leaving behind? It's a question we all must talk, we all must think. Climate change is a topic we are all hearing, we're all concerned, we hear big talks about it, but fundamentally I think climate change starts from you and me. What are we doing in our own personal life, in our own spaces, which means, are we switching off the light? Are we closing a tap of water? Are we using less water to bathe and not using a shower and enjoying ourselves? I think it all starts with those small moments of truth we are trying to make as individuals that will lead to a larger impact on our planet. And if some of you who are in the 20s and 30s will remember the books we've read on climate change and impact it makes, but it still amazes me that we are far-fetched from reality. We all know it, but what are we doing about it? So organizations, brands, people have been trying a lot through the products, through services we offer to customers to make that change. Now to me, actually, the real change will begin when big organizations come together and say, this is the kind of equity money, or this is how we look at green valuation. And that will be a big change, how people look at climate change. We are still far-fetched from that true reality. I would just leave this with one thing. Please think, what are you doing in your own capacity to make that change for your children, for your people, for your land, for your environment? And automotive is one part of it, because there are so many people who are employed in it, I've been talking about in the talk. But I will leave you with this one thought, that you and me are responsible for our planet. You and me are responsible for our children. So it's important that we take charge and say, what are we doing? And rest of the things will fall in place. Thank you.